remember it was just a few years ago, I just couldn't seem to beat my procrastination. If I got back from work or school, whatever it was, I wanted to be more productive and, do the things like work on my online business, exercise, read, meditate, get into all of like these good habits, right? But it just didn't seem to matter. Like I kept getting sucked back into the loop of doing like those bad habits and kept procrastinating. I just kept falling into that loop and I didn't know how to get out. And I bet you right now watching this, you're kind of an ambitious person. You know that you want more out of your life, but you're just not getting it and you just don't understand how to get yourself to like not procrastinate. Because obviously, if you want to create results in your life, you have to put in the work. But if you keep procrastinating on the work, how are you going to get it? So in case you don't know who I am, my name is Neal, and pretty much the whole purpose of this channel is just to help young guys like you to improve themselves, become the best version of yourself. So if that's something that you're interested in, and I can teach you pretty much how I went from being the world's worst procrastinator to being like consistently productive and like beating my procrastination essentially. So the first thing that I want you to teach you about is like the one principle that pretty much drives all human behavior. I remember one time it was like the weekend and my parents were out because they had like something to do. And basically before they got back, they just said, okay, Neal, I just want you to clean the house, pretty much like clean my room, bathrooms, kitchen, whatever. Now, the thing is, like a lot of other people, I procrastinated. I waited until the last minute to actually like do the cleaning because in that period of time, I just wanted to play video games or, watch my favorite shows, whatever. And the only reason I did that was because in that moment, there was more pleasure associated to playing those video games and watching, my favorite shows versus like cleaning because, playing video games feels a lot of fun. Cleaning, maybe not so much. Now, when it got to the time where just before they were about to go home, like 2 to 3 hours before I knew that they were going to come home because like they told me pretty much, now something switched. Now it became less pleasurable to play the video games and watch the shows or whatever, and more pleasurable to cleaning because I knew the consequences and like they became more real and in the moment. I knew that if I didn't do something right now, when they got back, I was probably going to get yelled at or like beaten or something. So pretty much the thing to get out of this is the pain pleasure principle. And the reason like why a lot of us procrastinate is because we're pretty bad at feeling the pain and pleasure of like far in the future moments, if that makes sense. Like a lot of the times we're only focused on what is going to be pleasurable in the moment. That's why a lot of us may know that, oh yeah, playing video games right now is going to be really fun, but like later down the line, we're probably going to regret it and like feel the pain of it. It's because we're just in the moment, we're just so associated to the present like pain and pleasure, if that makes sense. So pretty much one way to counteract this is that if you just visualize or just simply imagine yourself in the future and the consequences of your action and really like just close your eyes and like really imagine it for yourself. I find that like this visualization practice, it really helps me to just like not procrastinate on the bullshit that I know that I need to get done anyways. Like if I had like in that situation, if I had imagined myself, okay, all the stress that it might create just because, I'm constantly thinking about the tasks that I know that I need to do, I just would have gotten it done faster pretty much. So understand the principle of pain and pleasure and make sure it's aligned to where it should be. You should just be associating more pleasure to doing whatever that task is that you need to do and more pain to procrastinating. So second big point is if you're anything like me, your brain is like terrible at making decisions in the moment. Like there's a lot of decisions that are really easy to, make on paper because, when it's right in front of you, like written down, it's like pretty obvious. But while you're in the trenches, like your brain is pretty much just like the ability to think straight is just hogwash pretty much. So I remember when I was first really getting into exercise because I was like a skinny guy and I just wanted to like look better, feel better about myself pretty much. So I was tired of people making skinny jokes about me and girls really didn't seem to appreciate my physique at the time. But anyways, at first my results were pretty like sloppy and inconsistent just because I didn't have a routine. Like every now and then, like if I watched a video on YouTube or something or like someone reminded me of it, I would, crank out some push-ups here and there, whatever. But the thing is, I knew that I wanted to be consistent, but I just didn't have a routine for myself. Like I'd set a goal for myself. Okay, every single day I want to like just crank out say 20 push-ups, but a lot of days I would end up not doing it because I would kind of forget. There's in my mind there was like so many things that I could have been doing, and I just kind of forget some days. Now, when I actually started to make more like noticeable progress, it was when I actually made a routine for myself. Pretty much every single day, as soon as I woke up, I would just crank out 20 push-ups. And I would like obviously like increase it like as I got stronger, like progressive overload and whatever. But just by having this routine in my mind, okay, as soon as you wake up, the first thing you're gonna do is like start doing push-ups. By having that routine, I became way more consistent and started to make progress a lot faster. Now, obviously, a caveat to this, like a lot of all of the things that you may procrastinate on, you may not be able to make it into a routine, like for like the one-off things, pretty much. But a lot of the things that you do procrastinate on, they can be made into a routine or a habit. So for those things specifically, find a way to make it a habit. Whether you say, okay, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm going to do this task, or, as soon as I get home from school or work, I'm going to do this. Have it written down, have it like set in points so your brain doesn't have to make the decision for you. Like in the moment, the decision is already made for you. This is what really helps and like has skyrocketed my productivity in like a lot of areas. So highly recommend this. Now, most people don't know this, but your environment is one of the biggest reasons that you may procrastinate. I know there was like at least a few dozen times where I've been committed to like fixing my diet because I wanted to stop eating like all the sugary BS foods and whatnot because I knew that it wasn't good for my health, not only now, but like long term. So I would get home from school and I'd be kind of hungry. So, I'd go straight to the kitchen. But the kitchen had stuff like, a bag of chips to snack on, or like some pizza that my parents may have ordered, or desserts, just around sweets or whatever. Just basically like these things that would eventually end up leading to me like breaking my diet or my commitment to my diet. Because, because the thing is, a lot of the time, because of the things in our environment, it just becomes harder to follow through with the commitments that we may have made to ourselves. Like seeing a food that you really like, that would be really pleasurable, and it's right in front of you like every day, it's really hard to resist it. Like eventually your willpower just gives out. Like I know I'm not perfect, and I know a lot of other guys just don't have the willpower to like keep seeing something that they know would be like tasty, especially like when you're really hungry. Anyways, the times where it was a lot easier for me to like stick to my diet like more consistently, it was like 2 to 3 days before we had to go grocery shopping, because at this point like all of the chips or desserts or whatever, they were like already gone. Like everybody in the house had like eaten it already. But basically, when those things in my environment weren't there, obviously it was so much easier for me to stick to my diet. The reason was that I didn't have the option to like go and, snack on these chips or like these desserts or whatever, because they just weren't in the environment at the time. So the point that I'm trying to make is that often the reason that we procrastinate, whether it's by like scrolling on social media, playing games, watching your favorite shows, or whatever it is for you, is because our environments are set up in a way that makes procrastination the easier option. Like, okay, if you're a guy who wants to like start studying more, but in the room that you're studying in, say you have like your gaming console or a TV or whatnot, it's going to be way harder to actually focus on studying, because your brain is going to be thinking, hey, this studying is actually kind of hard. It's not that fun. But right here in front of us, there's a TV, there's a gaming console that we can play on. And that's constantly like going to be in your subconscious mind, and your brain is going to be thinking, oh, I want to do this. So as soon as the studying starts to get hard or whatever, your brain's just going to like go and do this. Like you may have experienced this multiple times. Just by changing that environment, whether it's unplugging your console and putting it somewhere else, or just going to a different room, that'll make it that much harder to procrastinate. Because now it's like, okay, well, if I want to procrastinate, now I have to go through all this extra effort, which, might not even be worth it. Like, if I wanted to start reading more, or no, I'm not even going to say that. If someone like just wants to get into some better habits and like their environment just isn't set up and it's like not optimal for them, like say you live in a house where your people are pretty loud and like the walls are paper thin pretty much, so like you can hear everything and it's hard to focus on a task like reading or just studying or something like that. Just any task that requires like your focus pretty much. It might be pretty hard in that situation. But if you can do something like either, I mean, to be honest, a lot of people or a lot of young guys probably just don't have the balls to like ask their people to be a little bit quieter. And, I don't even blame you for that. But maybe you just like go to a different environment. Maybe there's a nearby park or, open building or something where you can go and do that task. Whether it's reading, you can go outside, go to a park and read, or maybe you have a laptop, you can do your work on there. Just find an environment or a way to make your environment more conducive to what you want to like do and make it harder for you to do the things that you don't want to do. I hope that makes sense. Now, I know that you probably won't truly understand the significance of this, but you really are a part of a rare few of people who like have the attention span to actually like watch through a full video and whatever. And I can tell since you've watched through this full video and you've gotten to this point that you're actually kind of serious about your self-improvement. You actually want to really level up in life. So I respect you in that regard. So first thing I want you to do, if you're not already, I want you to click the subscribe button. It will just help YouTube to recommend more videos like this and less of like the BS kind of clickbait content that's just like mindless entertainment pretty much, but doesn't really add any value to your life. Also, if you're interested, I want you to join my email list. There are some things like on YouTube that I just like can't say, or there's pretty much just some things that are on YouTube that I can't share or say. So if you join my email list, you'll be able to like have access to some of the more exclusive content. So if that interests you, it'll be like either the first or second link in the description. But anyways, hope you got some value from this video. Peace out.